And it is that time. Chew on Sports is back. Welcome in. I am Zach, your host, and here is
Chris Temple, your co-host.
Just saying a hello from abroad. We have a jam-packed episode for everyone today. As promised, we are starting with the AFC East breakdown. We're going to do one division a week, starting with the AFC East. We're actually going to close the show talking about the NFL today. We're going to talk a little video game, sport video game action. We're going to talk some Mavs, some NBA draft lottery, and what's going on in the playoffs for the NBA and NHL because, boy, there's a lot of action happening. So first off, we did last week on Twitter, I actually posted a voting, and we had 58 votes on who should be on the cover of NBA Live.
I saw that.
And Other won. And
I was one of those others.
So the issue with Other winning was that, with Other being the winning denominator for NBA Live, that no one put who Other is. So I have a separate vote going on right now. So if you'd like to get on Twitter and vote, I'm at Chew on Sports. For who should be the cover athlete, it's between Luka, Devin Booker, Nikola Jokic, and I think Kawhi Leonard. And Luka's actually running away with it right now.
That's a bunch of Dallas homers like me.
Well, the cool thing actually is it's not the only thing. Like we're gonna lead this kind of into the lottery here after we finish talking about NBA Live. But the EA Madrid studio is actually helping make NBA Live this year. Okay. And
that's good for Luka.
And fun fact, Luka played for Madrid, so I don't know if they're, am I just reading too much into that, or is it really a thing where he could be the cover boy? And that Dallas Maverick thing we talked about last episode, we could have a Dallas Mav on the cover of a video game.
I mean, just think about Madden 20. They got Patrick Mahomes on it.
Right.
He's only a second-year player. He's a young guy.
Yeah, it makes sense, man.
It does. I mean, electrifying players. I mean, that's people want that.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. So when we record next week, the NFL draft lottery is set. It's going to be Tuesday night.
The NBA draft lottery.
Yeah. So it's about a week from today, or a week from yesterday. Excuse me. So we don't know who's picking where. There's a chance a lot can stay the same. There's a chance a lot can change. Generally, you have a shakeup of 2 or 3 teams, and most of it kind of stays standard. Okay?
Yeah, Dallas is the team that usually gets screwed.
Normally, we're the ones that either stay where we're at or we move back, including last year, which is why we're in this predicament. Because they should have finished with the third worst record, which means they would have drafted Luka, and they would absolutely have their pick this year, which would be 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Or wherever it ended up being. So, unfortunately, because we wanted to trade up to get Luka with Atlanta, there's a good chance that they don't have their pick this year. So today, I was thinking about it. I'm getting hyped. I want to know who we can get, and there are 2 things that crossed my mind, and I want the people's opinion on this, so please hit us up on the interwebs so we can know what you think, and I want your opinion too. Here's my thing. My thing is this the year? Like, I simmed 20 times, okay? I went to tankathon.com. It's a real thing, people, just like it sounds, tankathon.com, and you can hit the auto generator, and it'll tell you randomly where teams go. So I did this 20 times. On the 4th time, the Mavs got 3rd pick. On the 6th time, the Mavs got the number 1 pick. On the 8th time, the Mavs got the 3rd pick. And then on the 18th time, we got the 3rd pick. So it was out of 20. Every other time, we were 8, 9, or 10. There was no 7, there was no 5, it was only 3 those couple of times and 1 once. So as far as mock drafts go, top 5 is all I'm worried about as a Mavs fan, right? And the reason why top 5 is the only thing I'm worried about really as a Mavs fan is because, quite frankly, unfortunately, that's kind of where they're gonna finish. I mean, that if they get 6, it's not their pick.
Yeah.
If they get 7th, it's not their pick. So only 1 through 5 is what's protected. So just looking at the most recent mock draft, now these are the 5 players that should go 1 through 5. So the team means nothing here. But the 5th player, and pick your poison, in the top 5 on the consensus of the world of NBA mockers right now is Cam Reddish. Okay? You've got Jarrett Culver, who's number 4. R.J. Barrett, number 3. My boy, John Morant, number 2. And then Zion, number 1, obviously. And Zion and Josh should go 1 or 2. Period.
They will go 1-2.
I don't see anybody. And as far as RJ, Culver, Reddish, it can mix up, and a lot can change. The combine starts next week. A lot can change depending on who's picking where, needs, and all of that. But my thing is, for me, it's Zion and Ja and everybody else. Now, do we know what's going to happen? Do we know? I mean, did you know that Donovan Mitchell will be the star that he was, and you could have had the 14th pick and still got him? Did you know Rudy Gobert, who was a second-round pick, was going to be Mr. All-Defense and one of the better players in the NBA? No, we don't know these things.
It's too hard to predict in the NBA.
But one thing I know for sure is if the Mavs luck into the draft, if the balls bounce the way that the Mavs are supposed to, and we end up with a top 5 pick, but if it's not 1 or 2, do you really want it?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I would love to get RJ Barrett here.
Okay. So you'd rather not have a pick next year then?
I mean, I don't know what the class is next year, so it's hard for me to say I do or don't.
And presumably, and this is where I'm torn. Presumably, as a Mavs fan, we're going to be better next year.
Yes.
Pushing for the playoffs, if not in the playoffs, depending on what happens in free agency, right?
What you also have to remember is that we also, even if we lose our pick this year, we won't have a pick next year.
No, it skips for the Porzingis trade.
Does it?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we set ourselves up where it's within the next 3 years there will be 1 first-round pick. So it's either this year, next year, so it's either this year, next year, then it skips.
Why would the Knicks do that trade?
Whatever. Who knows? So we're not here to debate the Knicks. We'll be here for a really long time. Speaking of the Knicks, did you see that they're number 4 favorite to go to the Eastern Conference Finals next year, according to Vegas right now?
How are you number 4 when you were projected to sign said players?
They think that Zion's going to get their number 1, and they think they're going to land 2 marquee free agents.
I mean, they're projected to get KD and
that's not win
Kyrie.
The finals. That's just make the finals out of the East.
That doesn't make any sense.
And I think that's because Vegas thinks Kawhi leaves, and then Vegas thinks Sixers get broke up, and then Vegas thinks that 2 superstars go there. So I guess that's why they think that. They just assume.
Why is it all of a sudden the Sixers are going to get broken up? Is it just because they're getting beat so bad by the?
Sure, yeah. If it was 3-2 Sixers, we wouldn't be talking about this.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be a thing. It's people, and you get Tobias Harris and Butler who are free agents, so they easily could both leave both guys. Now they still would have money to sign other people.
Yeah, I mean,
so
they'll have quite a bit of money.
Tomato, right?
Yeah, these guys are still in their rookie contracts there.
So let's go back to my theory. So yes, I want a draft. I just don't think this is a deep draft. I think this draft is 3 or 4 deep. Maybe 5 depending on who's picking where and want, need, and all that good stuff. So I don't know, man.
I think it's 6 players deep, and outside of the top 6, you don't want in it.
So what do you think, people? I think that I'm teeter-tottering about it right now. And my mind might get made up for me Tuesday. It might not matter. But what do you think? I know Chris is all about having the pick this year. I might, man. I don't know. I'm torn right now.
Now, out of this draft, the only 2 players I want is Zion or RJ Barrett. That's it.
You wouldn't want Ja?
No, Ja is just like Devin Smith Jr.
Oh, he's better than Dennis Smith Jr.
His projections to be better, but he's not better yet.
Well, but he's a scorer. He's a shooter. He can handle off ball and in ball. Dennis Smith's a ball in hand player, right? And he's a better shooter, which is what you need around Luka. And that means they could not go in on Kemba, which I don't want Kemba here. Don't get me wrong, but they could put the money on Julius Randle, or put the money on Klay Thompson, or put the money on name the player, right?
No, Klay Thompson's a good story to bring up. I know we're talking about this a little bit later in the segment, but
now it's fine.
Why would he want to go to another team where he's the third wheel?
Who, Klay?
Yeah.
Talking about coming here?
Yeah. He would still.
Why would Klay want to come here?
Yeah, he wouldn't be the main guy still.
You saw the tweet, right?
Yes. Yeah, he's tired of not being the man.
He's tired of the leftovers.
Yeah, he wants to be the man. So here in Dallas, he wouldn't be the superstar. I mean, he would be a superstar, but he wouldn't be the superstar.
Are we sure?
I mean,
do you think he could score the most points?
He might score the most points, but Luka's still probably the better player.
Well, the way I look at it is it seems like everybody's different, right? Kevin Durant is the guy. Kevin Durant is the go-to. He is the you need a shot, that's where you go. Then you just have Curry, just is Curry, right? Curry's got the ball in his hands. He's either making a play happen or he's shooting it, right? There is no in between. It's just boom, 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 fast-paced offense.
Yeah.
So Klay, the offense has to get rolling, right? So Luka is not a shoot-first point guard.
No.
He's actually a small forward or point forward, whatever word you want to say. So let's just live in an imaginary world where I think Klay is gone. And I think Clippers are happening, but why would it work with the Mavs? And why would his attitude be okay? Well, Luka's passed first. So you're setting up opportunities for this amazing shooter because Luka can drive, he can kick it out. KP too. KP is also a very unselfish big man. That he's kind of like Jokic. That's why he only averaged like 17, 18, 19 points. Because KP, dude, Porzingis could easily average 25, 26, I think. If he just demanded the ball, got in the post, shot his threes, but he's the high assist numbers because he gets other people involved. So you'd have an offense that would have two players that are so easily kind of dish it.
I think that's
and pass it. And there you go. Yes, it is because look at Denver center Jokic, the Joker.
Yeah, I
mean, gosh, the dude, and that's phenomenal. So I think it would work because they don't want the limelight; they just want to win, right? Luka is not about being, at least right now, this version of Luka that I know. He's not. He's like. He passed up game-winning shots to give to Jalen Brunson and these other guys.
Jalen Brunson was a good player.
Oh, phenomenal draft pick, right?
He was a second round 2 years ago, right?
This year. He's a rookie this year, yeah. So I think it would work. Now, is it going to happen? No, I don't think so. I think that he's not even on the Mavs list, and I'm not sure if we have enough money to offer him. He might be max. And you know what, man? All these rumors are if Golden State doesn't offer max. I think both of us are in agreement that Kevin Durant's gone, right?
I would, if I'm the Golden State Warriors, I let a 30-something-year-old Kevin Durant walk, and I keep Klay Thompson.
Right. So if Klay's gone, you max out. He can do 5 years and the super max.
Yep.
He would be able to make more there than anywhere else. So why wouldn't you stay?
Absolutely. I mean, financially, it makes the most sense.
Right. So once again, these are intangibles we don't know, and that's what's bad. That's what's awesome is about the build up here that's going on in the NBA is because you have the first domino falls Tuesday. Well, actually, kind of, they're falling in the playoffs a little bit, if you think about it.
They are.
The Warriors are tied 2-2 with Houston right now, and I still expect the Warriors to win this series. I expect them to win tonight. Because, think about it, right now it's a best-of-3 series, and they have two games in Golden State.
Seth can't guard. He's getting destroyed right now.
I get it, but they've been in both games. It's not like it's not like they've just been destroyed, and if you're telling me it's a best-of-3 series, the team that has 2 home games is the one that I believe in more, especially when all anyone's done is win home games so far.
Yeah.
Now, if Houston goes in to Golden State tonight and wins, then I'll have a total different opinion tomorrow because then you have 2 opportunities to win, right? So we'll see how and that's a domino that could fall because if they get eliminated this round, there's a chance that a lot of turmoil changes, and we've seen it happen before, right? With teams just kind of break up when that happens. But everybody, the world, Vegas, us, thinks that Durant is out regardless if they win the championship or not.
I think Kyrie's out too.
Of the Celtics?
I don't think the Celtics want Kyrie back.
I don't think so.
Well, I know it's Kyrie's decision because it's an opt-out for him, but I think the Celtics are kind of like, just get out of here.
We'll see, man. We'll see. And the funny thing is wouldn't it be crazy if he opted in and they traded him to New Orleans for Anthony Davis? I mean, there's so many different things that can happen there.
Well, I think they can't do that because Kyrie would opt out before that trade would ever happen. I mean, he's not going to play the remaining 3 years on his deal to go to New Orleans, or 2 years on his deal, whatever it is.
Wow, man. Oh, it's going to be so intriguing. And
people. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. The NBA playoffs is just phenomenal. It's got me fueled, wishing my Mavs were in it, and just seeing new blood and seeing what I think is going to happen in the league. Let's go back to the lottery real quick. The only 2 players that I want, legitimately, is Ja and Zion. And the reason why is they're 2 of the bigger needs for the Mavs, too. Right?
Jalen did a good job at point guard last year. I mean,
is he a starting point guard, though?
No.
On a playoff team?
No, but Luka is your starting point guard.
Well, he plays small forward still,
but he's going to handle the ball 90% of the time.
Right. Not if you have Kimba. Not if you have an off-ball guard, kind of like Kyrie and LeBron, because LeBron was a point forward, right?
Yeah.
So when they split time, confuses people. So I like Brunson. I'm a Brunson guy. And that's the benefit. I mean, let's go back to Golden State. Let's talk about the model Golden State built. They had these young players on cheaper contracts. And they were able to get Andre Iguodala, right? Build around, and then get Durant and win the prize. And then now unfortunately, the dollars and cents are going to make it to where it's probably not possible to keep together.
It's not possible. You can't sign both of them.
You can go over if they all want to stay and pay $1 billion in luxury tax, which I don't think with building a new stadium they want.
I think,
but I could be wrong.
I think Kevin Durant and Draymond Green have had enough of each other.
Sure, and the problem is only one can go somewhere.
Yeah,
it's not like, hey, it's me or the other. It's Draymond Green's there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, so we'll see. So it's something to pay attention to. So on to playoffs. Let's talk about the NBA. We have Denver taking a 3-2 lead last night. Denver is fun, man. They are fun to watch. Portland's just not deep enough, man.
They're not.
Damian Lillard's awesome, and they found out a strategy to kind of, after game one, to kind of limit him. He's not been... I thought he was going to average 40 points a game this series. I don't think he's been even over 20 since
he hasn't.
one.
No, he's been... They've shut him down, and it's not even, just a little bit. He's been shut down.
His 3-point percentage is down, and they're just using exotic schemes. Kind of a hybrid zone, kind of... Not quite a 3-2.
Yeah.
But it's some kind of hybrid scheme that they're using to kind of keep him from beating them, because he is good enough to beat you.
Yeah.
I mean
he
really, really is.
Even when he's driving to the lane, he can't get to the basket.
Right.
I mean, he just can't get there.
And it's like I thought, man. Murray is becoming a star. Jamal Murray on Denver. And Jokic is doing what I said he would do. There's no answer. No one can stop him or do anything about him. He is just a freaking special player.
Are they good enough to beat Golden State?
No. I don't know. No, they're not. I'm not even going to entertain that. No, they're not. Unfortunately, Denver will get their butt kicked by Denver or Houston.
I'm a Brian Brodish you all this whole episode. Just keep asking you questions.
Yeah. I would love for Denver to do it, right? But I have Denver in my bracket.
I mean, I think everybody's ready for new blood.
Yeah, it would be fun. They're just not good enough, man. They shoot the three. The good thing is they can shoot the three and get extremely hot. But you're talking about, they would be intriguing playing Golden State because Curry can't guard. Neither can Murray. DeMarcus Cousins, there's rumors and rumblings that he might come back. I tell you what, man. Maybe in like Dementia, Avenger World, an alternate dimension they can win. But I think it's still Golden State. We touched on Golden State already. They're tied 2-2 with Houston. That series very well should go 7 now.
It's going to go 7.
I don't see how it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, Houston's got a good chance to win it. I mean, they almost won. They would have won the series last year if Chris Paul didn't get hurt.
Mm-hmm. The Golden State, to me, with my eyes, is not as good as they were last year, but neither is Houston.
Golden State's not as good as they were 3 years ago.
They're just... I don't know, man.
Egos. I think egos have gotten in the way of everything.
Like I said, we'll see what happens tonight. Like I said, NBA is really knee-jerk, so it's real easy to when you come off of 2 losses... I bet you there's no one picking Philly to win that series right now, correct?
No.
There's no one saying that Philly is going to win 2 games in a row.
Yeah,
but if Philly wins, if Philly comes in and wins by 25 points tomorrow...
They're down 2-3 on the road.
If they win by 25 at home tomorrow, and it's a tied series with 1 game left, will some people start to go in Philly's corner that they can win if they dominate like that? Sure. Some people, because it's knee-jerk.
Well, yeah.
You saw Houston. Right. Houston just, it's home cooking, man. Golden State dominated at home, 1-2. Houston dominated at home, 1-2. Now we're back. What's going to make me change my tune to think Houston has a chance is winning tonight. If they don't win tonight, there's no chance in my mind that they come back in the series.
No, you're not. Golden State is not going to lose 2 in a row again.
You have to win. This is the series tonight. It might as well be a Game 7.
Yeah. And they won't lose 4 straight.
In the East, I do believe the Celtics play tonight, right?
I think it's elimination.
I believe the Bucks are going to put the bullet in them. I think it's going to be over.
Just think about the knee jerk you're talking about all that.
They get destroyed game 1.
Yeah, Boston had won 5 straight, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, Boston's back."
Well, see, that's the thing is, I knew Indiana was hurting, and I like the Pacers. I just knew without Depot, they were a shell of a team. If that makes sense.
Yep.
And unfortunately, a lot of people just didn't because they handled it so easily. A lot of kind of fair weather is the wrong word, but a lot of people that are just paying attention to the two, not not the game, not watching it. They're just kind of, hey man, they won 4-0 there. They did this, they did that. So I did still think Milwaukee was going to win. I'm very glad that I didn't knee-jerk that. And Milwaukee looks like they're going to steamroll everybody in the East. I mean, they look so very good. And the reason why I say that is because Toronto is weird, right? We'll go to the next series, Toronto and Philly. And Toronto destroys Philly game 1. It looks like this is going to be an ugly series, right? It looks like Philly didn't belong. Didn't look like they were going to be able to hang. And then what happened? Philly won 2. Philly won 2 games in a row. And you're like, oh my gosh, now this is over. Philly's got this. Philly's going to win. They can't match Embiid. Ben Simmons is doing well. Tobias Harris, Jimmy Butler, just name it, right? Redick shooting threes. And then the unthinkable happened.
They got destroyed.
They lost 2 games in a row, and one badly, one not so badly. So, if there's any series that a team can come back and win, it's this one. This is the one because of the swing. It's been 2-2. So if there's any series where a team is down 2 games that they can come back and win, I think it's Philly.
Well, I picked Philly to win the series, and I haven't got a projection wrong yet.
I think I still think Philly's going to win.
So I need Philly to come back and win this thing so I can keep my projection.
I think they can, and the reason why is I just said it. They won 2 and they won 2. Both teams did it to each other. So.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. I picked Indiana.
You did pick Indiana, yeah. And you also picked Portland. So you might be wrong there too.
Yeah, but they won so far.
So that's my 2 cents as far as that goes. Now Toronto, don't get me wrong, if Toronto does advance, and it very well could happen, that is something that they've been a Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in some games, but Kawhi Leonard versus Greek Freak, that's must-see TV if that does happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Toronto's only good as Kawhi is.
Oh, yeah.
When he has a bad game, they don't play well.
Did you see the things on ESPN about his clutch rating? People are comparing his clutch rating to Kobe Bryant, and he's like blowing it out of the water just on clutch stats. It's very intriguing to me. It's Kawhi Leonard's a good player. He's a great player.
There's some crazy people out there who think Kawhi Leonard's a better player than Kobe Bryant.
Oh, I don't think that at all. I'm interested in clutch stats, and I watched the end of the game on Saturday, and because I was watching the Dallas Stars play, and man, that home dude just took over, and he did the exact same thing last game. So we'll see. It's every single NBA game right now is fighting for your life. It's a pretty much all for me. Like I said, even though Houston is tied, to me that's an elimination game, and then every other game is an elimination game.
Yeah,
depending on who could win.
Yeah, I mean these are all huge swing games.
So as far as NHL goes, that's what we're going to talk to next. There's 1 series left, and then the finals start. So our Dallas Stars got knocked out last night, and boy, was that painful.
Broke my heart.
It hurts me to watch one of the greatest, probably top 5 goalie performances of all time, right? Probably.
Yeah, I mean,
is that knee jerking? Is that bold? Is that being truthful?
No. I mean, he had 52 saves on 54 shots.
Yeah.
The highest that they showed on the screen last night was 73.
Right.
But listening to not Ben and Skin, but Sean and RJ this morning, they said that there was one in the 50s that was 97 saves in a game.
Man, and what's crazy though is that normally when you do that, you win. And it's crazy to think that this will be a performance that will be not talked about 20 years from now, probably.
The rest of the team after the first period was like, "Why are we here?"
Yeah,
it was.
Man. And if the Stars would have played like they did in overtime and the second overtime, the whole game, it wouldn't even come to overtime. We would have won.
How many wraparounds did we miss?
Yeah.
I mean, just an inch. If it would have gone around the post, just an inch.
The future's bright, man. One of the big reasons why I think we couldn't hang with St. Louis is because our defenders are so young. And I do think that they're going to develop and get better in the playoff experience. So I'm a firm believer that American Airlines Center, if you're a Dallas fan, is going to be booming next year with the Stars and the Mavs.
I'll tell you what, they better re-sign Radulov.
Oh, yeah. And is Zuccarello a free agent?
I'm not sure, but I know Radulov is the straw that stirs the drink there.
Yeah, they got some money.
That dude is...
He's a beast, man.
I love that guy.
Yeah, he's certainly a beast. And then we have a Game 7 tonight, San Jose versus the Avs.
Yeah.
So we'll see who the Blues play. Right now the Blues are just waiting. I believe their series is going to start Friday. So I think San Jose is going to win tonight. So I think it's going to be San Jose versus St. Louis.
Wow, they're going to start it that fast?
Yeah. I mean, the Eastern Conference Final starts tomorrow. It's Boston, which I think is going to win. Dang you, Boston. Boston versus Carolina. And Carolina,
Columbus.
Honestly, Carolina and St. Louis are the two hottest teams in hockey. So it would make sense if those were the two teams that played. But Boston just, they have that moxie, man. They've been there before. They're always a playoff team, it seems. I think Boston's going to take them down in that series. And then we'll see. We'll see how the rest kind of plays out, man.
Did they reseed it?
No. It's this is the last two.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, this is the Eastern and Western Conference Finals starting tomorrow night. So, one game left, and then we'll know who is in the West. So, we'll see.
It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. It's man, I like hockey, but I love it when my Stars are playing.
I was watching the game last night, and I go sitting there going, this is just what it's like to be a fan of a Dallas sports team. They get so close, and they build up all this momentum, and everybody gets behind them, and then they just crap out.
Speaking of Dallas sports teams, when's the last time a Dallas sports team was out of the second round of anything? It was the Mavs.
In 11?
Yeah. That was the last time.
That's what I was thinking. What?
Because the Cowboys had a playoff game 2 years ago, and it was we had a bye.
What about 14 when we went to Green Bay?
We lost the second round. We won the first game versus the Lions, then we lost. This year, we won the first game, and then we lost. Texas Rangers have lost and lost. The two times they got Toronto. One was a series and one was a play-in game, right? And then the Stars have made it twice. They've won 2 playoff series.
No, it's the Rangers, because the Rangers went to the World Series in 12.
Oh, was it in 12? Okay, so it was the exact season.
Well, because Dirk told them, because after the Mavs won their championship, Dirk told the Rangers when they were on, bring one black suit, one black shirt, one black tie.
That's
like
it.
you're going to a funeral.
So that's it. So that was the last 2. So that 11-12 block was the last time that we had in Dallas. So it's been intriguing. Now the good news is this: the Cowboys are a good team right now.
They're a very young team.
Are they going to be a great team? That's in NFL. There's so much parity. They could go from 11 wins to 4 for all we know.
The reason why the Cowboys won't be a great team, it's real simple: coaching.
We'll see.
I mean, you have too many unknowns on the offense.
There's a ton of unknowns.
Kellen Moore, quarterback that just came back, Kitna. Mm-hmm. You've got 2 unknown guys doing new positions.
Might be a good thing. I mean,
it could be a good thing.
Being dynamic and being open is what the Cowboys need. Now, the good news is the Cowboys very well at some point this year will be playing against rookie quarterbacks who will have some growing pains, so that's going to help. And then Carson Wentz, unfortunately, I'm a big fan of his game. I think he's a very good football player, but he hasn't proven that he could stay on the field. So, thinking the Cowboys are going to be good for the next 4 or 5 years it's not a crazy thing. It's not a crazy proclamation, right?
No, I mean, but they're also going to run out of money here soon.
And then let's look at the Stars. The Stars are also young. The Stars also have some veterans. Their coach, I smell what he's cooking. You could say that this team's primed also for a good 3 to 5 year run, maybe longer.
At least 3.
And then the Mavs.
I mean, the Mavs are still building. It's to be determined what the Mavs are going to be.
If Porzingis and Doncic, if that's it, that's 10 years possibly.
That's 10 years, but it's 10 years of what? Two great players are going against the likes of Golden State?
Not if they break up. Like I said, we don't know how the landscape, but they'll be competitive and be good just like they were this year. And then the Rangers are way better than people thought. You had some free agents, you had some farm, who knows? So being a Dallas sports fan right now is certainly, you could be a little more positive than pessimistic like 2 years ago. When the Stars weren't in the playoffs, the Mavs looked like they were in the lottery the next 5 years. The Cowboys, Zeke suspended, didn't make the playoffs, right? The Rangers were the Rangers. So things have changed a lot in 2 years where it looks like we're looking at a good 4 to 5 year plan as being a Dallas sports franchise of just not knowing what the future holds, but just looking at the base of what these franchises
Somebody just won a
built.
championship.
Somebody, just one.
Just one.
That's all we need.
We don't need to be like Boston.
I would like to.
We don't need to be, but we would like to be.
I would like to be like Boston and win everything.
Yeah. Every year you win a championship for that city.
Speaking of Boston.
They know that parade route really well.
Speaking of Boston, as we promised, this week we are doing the first of our NFL breakdown. What we're doing is we're doing kind of a lead up to training camp. Training camps kick off in July. So we're going to break down a division once a week, so it's not football overload. There's going to be a bunch of free agency, a bunch of draft talk for NBA and for hockey coming up, a bunch of baseball talk that needs to happen as well, fantasy football. There's so many different things we want to talk about and share with you, the audience, because we don't just want to have one topic an episode. So we're breaking down the AFC East. Now, I assigned Chris with some homework, and Chris, I assigned him the Patriots and the Dolphins. I took the Patriots and the Bills.
You just gave me a heart attack. I was I did the wrong team.
Yeah, I have the Bills and I have the Jets and the Dolphins. Yeah. Going crazy here. And what we did is we kind of broke down the additions that the teams got in the offseason. We both looked at their schedule, and we tried to be guru schedule people. We're putting on record what we think they're going to finish as schedule-wise. And I'm excited to break it down. Now, for those of you who are subscribers, next week we will be doing the AFC North. We're going to do the whole AFC and knock that out one week at a time. But we're going to start with AFC East, like promised. So I'll let Chris go first. We're going to start with the defending Super Bowl champion, New England Patriots. Okay?
Yay.
So let's talk Patriots. What additions, subtractions, what do you like, dislike, whatever? The floor is yours.
Well, the Patriots lost some good wide receivers. They lost Demaryius Thomas. Sorry, they added Demaryius Thomas. Who they lost Chris Hogan, Cordell Patterson. Those are two intricate parts of their offense.
Uh-huh.
Cordell was more of a gadget player. They used him as a running back slot, but mainly as a special team player. He won the Browns game for him with the kickoff return. They lost Gronk to retirement, obviously, which is going to be a big loss. You can't replace a Gronk. They also lost their other tight end, Dwayne Allen. He's gone, so their starting two tight ends are gone.
Okay.
They've lost the offensive tackle Trent Brown. He went to the Raiders.
Right, which I'm not worried about that. It seems like all they do is they have such a good offensive line coach. It seems like they just until they need to be paid, they're there and then ship them away so they can invest otherwise.
Yeah, I mean they lost two defensive ends. They lost Trey Flowers and Adrian Claiborne.
Did they add anything that you like?
One guy they got in the draft, I like N'Keal Harry in the first round.
Yes,
I think he's going to be an explosive guy. Free agents that they got that I do like is Demaryius Thomas. I know he's old and he's coming off of an Achilles injury, but I think he can suffice in the slot. I think he's not going to be the guy he used to be.
Reunited with Josh McDaniels.
Absolutely.
They drafted him in Denver, right?
Yes, absolutely. They did get Michael Bennett from Philly. He's the most expensive defensive lineman they've had in forever. Their entire defensive line made $17 million last year. I think he's making $18 million themselves this year.
Wow. Okay.
So that's a big, and they did get a tight end in Austin Seferian-Jenkins.
Okay.
To replace that.
That's an intriguing player. He's shown flashes, but very small flashes. But
yes.
He's had 3 games where he's been like, this could be a guy.
Yeah.
This could be a dude.
I think injuries have held him back more than anything.
Yeah. What do you have their record as?
I have them finishing out 11-5. We know they always start slow here lately.
Okay.
It's always about not how they start, but how they finish. The first month of the season they'll start out 2-3 like last year, and the sky's falling, and then they go on to win the Super Bowl.
Right. Okay. That sounds about like New England.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. I think I've mentioned this on the podcast. I know I've mentioned it in conversation before, and I'll talk about it again right here. Man, New England is a good team, and they're a well-coached team, and they do everything great. And they've won so many Super Bowls and been in the playoffs and had bye weeks. And one of the biggest reasons why they're always in the bye and they don't have a huge uphill climb is because of the home field advantage they have, because the best player they've ever had to play twice as far as a quarterback is Chad Pennington under the Tom Brady era.
Or Byron Leftwich, whichever one you want to go with.
So now, and I've said this, and I think you would agree with me after breaking schedules down with me, I think this is the toughest this division has ever been. It's all youth, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, you got.
It could be all second-year quarterbacks if Josh Rosen takes Fitzmagic's job, right?
Josh Rosen will take Fitzmagic's job.
I think so, too.
I think if you're the
That will
Dolphins...
start, though, probably.
I think after week 3.
Something like that.
Yeah.
That's the thing, though. So, and by my predictions over here, you're probably right on it, too, by the way. But that's the thing, is that next year, man, if Rosen and Josh Allen and Darnold, who I think they are going to be.
I think Darnold's going to be a superstar.
I like them. I like all 3, actually. I don't think Josh Allen's a superstar, but I think he can get it done.
I think Josh Allen will be a top 15 quarterback.
And I like Josh. I think Josh Rosen's, people hate him. I think Josh Rosen's going to be all right, man.
Josh Rosen's too cerebral. I think he asks too many questions, and for whatever reason in the NFL, they don't want you to ask questions. They just want you to do.
Well, one thing for sure is that if he's going to succeed, he's got to do it because he was thrown into a no-win situation with Arizona.
He had a defensive coach that had no offensive line.
Right.
And for whatever reason, their game plan was to run
and then
up the middle.
Now he's walking into the Lions Den of Miami, who in the NFL it's not so much like the NBA where you tank for Zion, right?
Yeah.
But he's walking into a situation where Miami where they could just be hanging him out to dry, right? Going for one of these other quarterbacks.
I mean, the theory was they were tanking for Tua Tagovailoa.
Right.
And then Rosen, they got it for a second. Come on now.
The problem with the NFL and tanking is that you can't, they don't rest players like they do in the NBA, right? And then on top of that, you really can't because this might be the only contract these guys get. So
the average player is 3 years.
Right. So the player's play is too hard for that to be a thing. So you never can proclaim what would happen. But he could be put in a situation where it could be rough for him, man. But I think he is going to rise. So now, like I said, these are second-year players, so they're going to have their growing pains, right? I don't think you have the Bills with a winning record, do you?
No, I do not.
I do not have the Jets with a winning record, and I don't have the Finns with a winning record. So that tells you right there the Patriots should, if not win all their division games, they should win most of them. So your prediction that they're going to be at 11 or double-digit wins is 100% accurate.
Yeah.
They could be not even a shell of what they were last year, and they could walk to 10 wins because 6 could be in the division right there.
It's easy for them.
It's just right there. So now, next year, will that be the thing? I don't know. It very well could not be.
It won't be.
Because if these quarterbacks are, like I said, who we think they're going to be.
Between year 3 and 4.
Oh, it could get interesting.
It's the biggest leap, for these quarterbacks. They either get it or they don't.
So I'm going to go now. Dolphins was one of the teams I wrote down. The Dolphins, let's see. They added Ryan Fitzpatrick, who I like Fitzmagic, man. I like him as a signing. Is he a winning quarterback?
No.
Sure, no. At points he can be. He can get you to 5-0.
He's a hell of a fantasy
quarterback. Lose every game,
yeah.
Right? But they added Fitzpatrick. They traded for Josh Rosen. And they had Christian Wilkins in the draft, who I think is going to work out well for their defense. Okay?
He's a kid from Clemson, right?
Yes. So as far as their record goes, I don't have them having a great season at all. I wanted to give them more wins than this. I have them at 3-13. I could see them finishing at 5 or 6 wins. I don't think that's an anomaly. But 3-13 is where I have them. I did the schedule twice, and that's what I felt best about. And I have them starting off 0-4 before beating the Skins week 5. So you should see Josh Rosen week 3 or 4 by my prediction, basically.
Yeah.
Can they be a good team? Sure. Are they going to be? I don't know. Are they a playoff team? Absolutely not. There's too much of a hill to climb in the AFC.
I mean, you got to think Dallas is a good team, and they're like the 5th best team.
Right. They play the NFC East, so that's kind of lucky on them a little bit because there's a chance because they play the Giants late in the year, which means it might be Daniel Jones time.
Yeah.
Right?
The Redskins.
They play the Redskins week 5, who if the Redskins start slow, that could be Dwayne Haskins time.
If I'm the Redskins, I'm starting Dwayne Haskins week 1.
I don't think they will. Unless he wins it in the preseason.
It's the Redskins. They're not going to do anything smart.
And then they play the Browns. They play the Colts. So they don't have it's tough, man. It's not an easy schedule. So I'm intrigued. I do have them losing to the Giants or beating the Giants, excuse me, because I did predict Daniel Jones will be the starting quarterback by that time. So that's where I have them falling. So now the other team you did was the Bills.
Yes.
So tell me about the Bills. What's going on with them?
Well, my pet cat of the NFL draft was Ed Oliver, and they were able to get him with the 9th pick. I mean, this kid is going to be a phenomenal defensive tackle for them. They did really well in the draft. They got Cody Ford, Singletary, the running back, and Dawson Knox. I think they got 4 really good picks in the top 100.
And they have Frank Gore, who's 100. So that's exciting.
Yeah. They added Frank Gore, TJ Yeldon, to solidify their backs. They let Chris Ivory walk. Does Shady McCoy make it through?
I think so. Right? He still did okay. He took a step back, but probably.
I mean, Shady's always been injured. That's always been his biggest problem. Hamstring problems.
So you think they'd cut him?
Depending on how much money's left on his deal.
I think he's last year. That's something to pay attention to, because I thought about this too. That's something to think about for sure.
Yeah. They added two speedies. They added a really speedy wide receiver in John Brown.
Yeah.
And then they added a quick guy, Cole Beasley. I mean, they did a lot of good things to help their young quarterback out.
I like the Bills, man.
They added weapons. And that's the one thing a lot of these teams don't do for their quarterbacks when they draft these kids. There's no weapons. Their offense is terrible. And then they're just like, here, figure it out. We couldn't do it, but we'll see if you can.
That's what I like about what the Jets and the Bills did, was that both teams catered to their young quarterback and tried to build around them.
Do you think the Bills would have drafted Hawkinson
If he was available?
instead of Oliver?
If he was available?
Yeah.
No.
Because he went 8, right?
I don't think so, because I don't think they're jacking around, dude. I don't think the Bills think this is a building year. They had a sneaky good defense last year, right?
I mean, they've always had a sneaky good defense.
Their defense was really good, though, last year. It's just like if you're a fantasy player, they were almost a weekly start. So, you got Ed Oliver going after Tom Brady. I think that was the right move. I think you've got 2 or 3 more years, maybe 4 of Tom Brady. You want to have Tom Brady on his butt.
The problem with that is you can't get to Tom Brady.
Maybe with Ed Oliver you can.
I don't know.
We'll have to find out.
Most teams can't.
According to the Madden's X Factor ratings that's going on, if he throws 3 passes over 20 yards, you won't be able to touch him.
Yeah.
I guess is what they're trying to do. So what do you have the Bills' record as?
I have the Bills going 7-9 and finishing second overall.
Nice. Very good. Okay. Very cool. So do you think they could win less than 7 games? Or do you think you's got them at 7?
Yeah, I mean, they could always win less than 7. I mean, they got a tough schedule, too. Obviously, playing the NFC East as well. Actually, there we go. They play the Colts week 1. They play the Panthers. They got the Lions, Vikings. They got a really hard start to the season. They'll play the Bengals, the Titans, Browns, the Broncos, Ravens, Steelers. They don't have an easy schedule this year.
I think 7 wins is on it, man.
7.
I think that's. I would like to see them win more. I would,
yeah. If this team gets 7 wins against that competition, against the NFC East and the AFC East, which is what I saw in there, that's a lot. Saying you got the Steelers, Browns, Ravens, Cowboys, and Eagles for sure. That's 5 really good teams. Plus you play the Patriots twice.
Well, it's a huge step in the direction for next season, like we're talking about.
Yeah.
We don't expect to play, and you never know. I mean, Roethlisberger as a rookie was in the playoffs. As a second-year player was in the Super Bowl winning it. So you never know. I mean, both teams built enough where a magical run could happen, but it's all in the quarterback. Would we both agree with that?
Absolutely.
So we're going to go to the Jets now. And the Jets, as everyone in the world knows, added Lev Bell. Probably the biggest free agent move that wasn't Antonio Brown.
Can't even get him to show up to voluntary training.
Right? Well, it's voluntary. All right, now besides just adding him, who biggest free agent move, like I just said, is definitely Lev Bell. They got C.J. Mosley on defense, who is a very good player. Jamison Crowder on offense, who's a sneaky good slot player.
Coming from Washington.
And then you've got my favorite player on defense, Quinnen Williams, who I thought should have went number 2. And we'll see. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. Obviously, we'll find out about that, right? We don't know how that's going to turn out. So that's how that kind of shakes out. Now, the Jets, I'm a big believer that they're going to be very, very good team, a very, very good team. I just think that, man, can Darnold get this team to 9 wins?
No.
I don't think so. I don't think so this year. I also have the Jets, like the Bills, finishing at 7-9 is what I have the record. I have them beating the Bills week 1, losing to the Browns week 2, and then losing to the Pats. So they kind of going to start off slow, it's going to kind of go back and forth, but I like the foundation they got. One of the reasons why I'm kind of skeptical, too, is Adam Gase really hasn't proven to be much more than just an okay coordinator to me.
With crazy eyes?
He didn't do well in Miami. And he had some exotic, interesting offenses, right, where they did some good things, but I don't know if he's the guy that gets him over the hump. So, and Darnold, I want to say that Darnold is going to take the next step and be legit. I'm worried that a new offense, he might take a little bit of a dive. as much as I'm a believer in what he's going to do. And if the Jets don't win 8 or 9 games this year, they're quick to pull the trigger up there. Are they already looking at a new coach?
You can't. I mean,
if they win 5 or 6?
No, you can't. Darnold, that's what happened. That's another thing that happens is a lot of these young quarterbacks, 5 coaches in 5 years.
Coaching purgatory, learning new systems, learning new offenses. And
they just get confused and everything's in their head. They've got, this system's kind of like this system, but it's really not.
Right.
Not the lingo. There's just too much to absorb for these young kids.
Right. No, for sure. And those are things we don't know. That's why I like about Josh Allen's situation is the defense is the best of. I think they have the best defense in the division.
The Jets have a good defense too.
I think the Bills' division's the best, and he's got the same coordinator. He's got weapons. Robert Foster is a low-key beast on Buffalo, the wide receiver. He really came on at the end of the year, and I'm intrigued. I'm a believer that if any team exceeds the wins we gave them, it's going to be Buffalo. You heard it here first. That's what I think.
He projected Buffalo to go 8-8.
No, I did not. I just think that if any team goes above the projection, I think it'll be them. And I think 7's good. I agree with your projection. I think we did a fantastic job on the projections, actually.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see the AFC South with the Texans and the Colts and the Jags and the Titans. That's what we're doing next week. That's going to be tough, man. That's going to be a tough division to break down. I'm looking forward to it.
I think the Colts are going to win it again.
So we'll do the same thing for everybody, for our listeners next week. Chris is going to take 2 teams. I'm going to take 2 teams, and we're just going to discuss. We're going to break it down. Talk about additions, subtractions, what we think. I think both of us could just say right now, spoiler alert, Tennessee's the worst team in the division in our opinion.
Which is crazy.
Maybe.
Which is crazy.
And maybe they're not. I have to really break down the schedule because it could not be that way. Because when you break down the way the schedule flows.
First place, second place, third place, fourth.
Right.
Yeah.
So who knows? But just out of the naked eye, I think it's going off of Mariota.
They have the worst quarterback in the division.
Is Mariota worse than Foles?
Does Mariota have Super Bowl?
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
So then, yeah, Mariota doesn't stay healthy. That's as big as not.
So I'm excited. So that's a little teaser for everybody for next week's episode. So in closing, Chris and I have got a lot of love recently for the podcast, and we do this for fun. And reviews have meant so much to us. Followers, I think. The podcast, I share my personal Twitter with my podcast Twitter, right? And I went from, in the last 6 weeks, having 300 followers to over 800. That blows my mind.
That's crazy.
The 2K podcast that we did, which was amazing. Andrew, if you're listening, thank you again for coming on and talking 2K football with me. Is the most downloaded episode, the most listened to episode, period. We had like 400 plays over a weekend of that alone. And it's just awesome to see people are listening and liking what we're saying, so we're going to keep doing it. If we're not talking about something that you want to hear us talk about, let us know. We don't try to not talk about things. We just talk about things we think you want to hear.
Yeah.
So if we're not talking about that, let us know so you will continue to listen.
Yeah, we know baseball's going on, but it's in the back burner right now.
Yeah, because playoffs, it's really what it is.
Yeah.
Playoffs take precedence over that, man.
It has to.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the show, and that's what we got, and we're excited to listen. We got a lot of cool stuff. I know that in July, SportsCon is coming to town. It's a giant fantasy football convention, and Chris and I are going to go.
Looking forward to it.
We're going to actually hopefully meet some other podcasters, meet some personalities. Who knows? Maybe get somebody to get on as an interview. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm busting my butt on the interweb to find more special guests for you guys. So, not that we don't love Chris being the player too, but so we can have some special guests and everything else sometimes and talk about them and what they're about. So we can add different voice and opinions to everything because that's what sports is about. That's what Chewin' Sports is. It's a medium, whatever the word is, to talk to you guys about different things. So thank you for the bottom of our heart for listening as always. Thank you for the reviews. If you've thought about leaving a review and you haven't done it, do it. It feels good, I promise. I heard that your wife likes to make out with you after you like a podcast 5 stars. It's weird. I don't know where that came from.
It's a fact.
But it happened to me. So I like 2 podcasts, and I got the 3rd base. It was exciting. I'm just kidding, but I probably did. But that's the show for today, everyone. As always, I appreciate everybody listening, and we will check you next week.
Peace.